Nice version. Yep. Shame about the sleeve notes. That's Reckless Eric notes. They're good. I mean, it's really nice. It's heartfelt and it's nice. And it's a nice end bit to it. And it's but it just was funny. Have a look at that. Ray Davies is with us, ladies and gentlemen. Could not be happier. One of the greatest musical talents this country has ever produced.
Oh,
Mr. Ray Davies.
Thank you.
But you know what? Look at you. I've met you once or twice over these. I'd forgotten when I was talking about you earlier that you were kind enough to come on my very first talk show.
That's right, yeah.
The Last Resort.
Last Resort.
Way back when.
They said, phoned me up at the last minute, will you do The Last Resort? And I thought, well, why not?
Yeah, because there were no other guests. No one else would do us.
A couple of other people.
Yeah.
And you had a band called Ecstasy.
That's right, Nick Cletus and Ecstasy. Nick, who used to be in Rug later years ago, and he was terrific. He played the Hammond organ.
What happened to them?
He's still knocking around. He's still making music and doing great stuff and working.
That's it. Great.
That's the whole thing about the music business, isn't it? You can keep doing what you want.
They say that. That's what they tell me.
Well, especially these days, I suppose, with internet, and you can knock a CD together yourself pretty quickly and record at home. Yeah. And we were talking about the White Stripes here. Their album was recording for, we believe, sixpence. On very primitive technology.
Yeah, I think it was a bit more than sixpence.
You were just saying to me that you're familiar with their work.
I was in New Orleans researching a few years ago a project about 2.5 years ago, and I went to a little club called the Matador, and they were playing. Wow. And I think they were unsigned. And of course, I had a label years ago called Conk.
I remember Conk, yeah.
We had a few successful people, and they all left. And I said, I'd love to be involved with this band, but I don't have the setup anymore. And they haven't changed at all from them, and the success is just amazing. Except he's holding a cricket bat now.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need a guitar anymore. But there is something about them which is, I think, quite special, don't you? I think they're a real kind of one of those bands that will last and be big.
Well, I don't know about lasting. I think that they've just hit on a very, very unique minimalist. These days, particularly now in recording Pro Tools and solid state Logic and all these digital instruments, they've hit on a very basic format.
Drums and great blues guitar.
And it's a young band bringing back real music, in a sense.
And they sound great, they look great, yeah. Let's talk about your sound then. Over the years, you've had many distinctly different periods of sound, I think. I mean, if we're talking about early Kinks sound, it was that kind of raw Ricky Tick sort of sound, I think. Was that what it's called? Ricky Tick? Ricky Tack? It was called Ricky Tick, wasn't it?
No, it's rock and roll.
No, come on. What was they used to call that kind of early 60s moddy sound?
Bad?
No. Those early
I think
the Kinks.
I think the Kinks had that fuzzy guitar sound, that raw sound that we got off.
When I discovered them, when you're discovering music and you don't realise that, I mean, nowadays I guess people know a lot more about it, there's much more information out there. But back then you'd find singles and say, I wonder what this is like, and put it on. And I found 3 or 4 of the singles my brother had. My oldest brother Paul put them on. Could not believe how great they were. I mean, those first few singles you had All Day and All the Night.
They sounded different.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's my brother's guitar sound.
But also your voice was and the structure of the songs, the way they were written, because they were so. And you know what was interesting? I found was this was about 76, 77 when punk was happening. You could listen to them; they sounded of that moment as well.
Yeah. I think the punk era was interesting because we were the only band. They used to slaughter all the established bands in NME and newspapers like that. We were the only band, I think, one of the few bands that didn't get slaughtered.
Yeah,
I think they knew we could out-punk them.
Yeah, well, there was that feeling. What was it? We were talking earlier on, I remember reading about some night when your band imploded, because the Kinks really did sort of like collapse in grand style, didn't they?
The attempted murder.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, I think it was my brother and our drummer, Mick, lived together. My brother was 16 when we had our first #1, so it was all a bit young. And they rented a house in North London together, and it was a house of ill repute.
Of course, one would hope.
Yeah. I think the stresses of living together and living in a goldfish bowl. No one taught them how to be famous. Nobody said that they'd be followed everywhere they went. And I think combination of that, heavy touring, and one night we were playing Cardiff, and they'd had a punch-up the night before, and we started, I think, a Chuck Berry song. It starts da-la-la, da-la-la. I turned around, crashed, and the drummer had hit the guitar player over the head with a cymbal. But it was like GBH and everything.
That's like, fantastic. Oasis had nothing on you.
Well, I wasn't involved. I stood quietly and
it must have been awful though for you to be there. And
we recovered. Then after that, we went to America and got banned. People talk about banning people from hotels. We were banned from the whole continent.
That's fantastic.
It's not. It was a real drag because we were having all these hits like Sunny Afternoon, Waterloo Sunset in the rest of the world, and we couldn't get into America. And so it's kind of frustrating. So when we went back in the 70s, we had to start, playing in bars and things, and eventually we got back and played Madison Square Garden and all that stuff.
Must have been a pain, I'm sure, but there's a kind of romance to that story.
Well, it's the sort of thing that movies are made of, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it has a romance to it. And it gave us a nice feeling when we finally made it back to the big arenas. Not that that's the be all and end all, because I think music could sound great in a bar, and that's a good thing about new bands like White Stripes. I saw them in a club, and I bet they're not playing any more different now than they were in that club.
And it's probably a much more vibrant and real experience for those who get to see them in a small venue, of course. I mean, I love seeing bands in small places. There's something about that which is really kind of cannot be, I think, emulated or matched by seeing them, no matter what material they're doing, in a big venue.
Well, I was an art student, and we booked the Rolling Stones at our school Christmas party for 50 quid. And it was the best gig I ever saw them play.
Of course, 50 quid.
Before they became the Golden Girls.
What do you think of your contemporaries from that period? Because you've all had such wildly different career trajectories. You look at Jagger, you look at, without talking about his recent brush with tabloid fame, but you look at Townsend and The Who are the other big mod band. Without going into that, certainly if we just looking at the music, the Kinks were always the kind of, in a way, like the odd men out.
Yeah, I think it's because of name. I remember when we first had our name mentioned on TV, they said, "Oh, this isn't going to last. Don't ever sell records with a name like that." And I think and then we used to play places, and have strange people knocking on our door. "You really kinky?" and all that.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit difficult. And it kind of sticks with you. But the music, I think, started to override that stigma. But as a band, I think my music, I started to be a writer, and I think my writing was so diverse.
Yeah.
You couldn't get pigeonholed with any one style.
Well, that's what's interesting about you, and that, in a way, that's what makes you. It's not frustrating, but it's hard to get a handle on
frustrating.
Yeah, because what is Ray Davies's music style? It's not necessarily just early Kinks stuff. It isn't that kind of country tinged bluesy stuff. It isn't whimsical. It's kind of you've reached so many different.
It's like I'm doing my first. I'm still working on my first solo studio record. Never done one before.
Yeah, that's such a
the songs are very diverse. I've got one song about voodoo in New Orleans, and another song about a guy who can't fix his plumbing in North London. So I think the diversity of the material sometimes works against me, but it adds to that. I guess we built up a cult following.
But what is that? Where does that come from then? Because most people, they find the one way in which they wish to communicate or express themselves musically. They find the subjects which appeal to them, and they stick pretty much to that path. But you do seem to be plucking things from all different areas, all different fields, and so is that a restlessness on your part, or is it just a?
It's a restless. Well, I get bored easily, and I like to keep ideas flowing. I missed a really great cover record once. One of my songs on an album, Andy Williams wanted to record it, and the publisher said, "Andy," well, this is when Andy Williams sold lots and lots of records, and he said, "Will you change one line of lyric?" I said, "No, I don't want to change it. I like the song." He said, "Well, I don't think Andy can sing dressed in two-tone strides and daisy roots." And it was a ballad, and I'd throw something like that in a ballad.
Yeah.
And I guess I should have been more pliable and more sort of enable people to change things over the years. But I don't think we would have been the Kinks.
When you say should have, though, why do you think you should have? Just for financial gain, or?
I think in that case, obviously.
But you're not hard up, are you?
Hard up.
I mean, you're not a millionaire, I guess, are you?
What?
You're not a millionaire like Jagger is and those guys.
I don't know this week.
But you're doing okay.
It varies week to week.
Because if you need somewhere to crash.
Interesting thing.
I'd put you up. I'll put you up.
I'll take you up on that.
Seriously, I'll put you up. I'll bring you toast in the morning.
Yeah.
Not for long, maybe a week.
Yeah.
Don't take the piss.
I think I've taken lots of risks. I've taken a lot of risks.
Yeah, well, don't start pushing your luck now. A week, that's it.
But I'm not going to stay with. I've got to have my own room. Is that
You've got your own room.
Okay. Well,
you've got to help me get the kids ready for school.
Right. Oh, I don't know about that.
I've never seen you perform a whole set live. I've seen you do bits and pieces. This sounds great. I'm going to try and come down afterwards. I'm working Friday night, but it's this Friday, the 16th of May, at the Royal Festival Hall.
What you doing Friday then? The day job?
I'm doing my talk show Friday night.
Oh,
it's the evening job, really. But I would love to come down because it sounds great. Tell us about the show you've got planned that night.
Well, since I sort of stopped playing with the band isn't over, but I'm doing this project. I did a thing called The Storyteller. Yeah. So I read from a book, the unauthorised autobiography.
And you did that all over America as well,
did it all over America, and the TV, VH1 started a whole TV series based on it, which is great. And now I'm doing this solo record and another book, but I'm not quite sure if the book will be finished in time. And now I've got a band. So I'll be playing with the first half of the set will be me playing with an acoustic.
But this is the first band you've had together for a while, isn't it?
First one since the Kinks.
Wow,
yeah.
Something, isn't it? And who's in the band? Who are the people you've
got? We've got a really good drummer called Toby, a guitar player called Mark, and a bass player. I've forgotten your name now.
Yeah,
I'm seeing him.
He's on first names terms with us. That bodes well.
Yeah, no, his name's Dick. I'm the only person that's allowed to call him Dick other than his mother. So
yeah, well, I can understand it. And what sort of sound do you have? So this is back to a 4-piece, of course.
Well, no, it starts off, I do an acoustic set first.
So
I'll be doing older stuff and stuff from the canon, I guess they call it. And then we have an intermission, and then we come out with a rock set.
Wow.
Rock set.
And then what's this? You've got kind of a big an orchestra with you as well, haven't you?
No.
Oh no.
I've done all. No.
You've done all that sort of big sweeping stuff.
I've done all the sweeping orchestral stuff I'll ever want to do for the time being.
Let's play a track now. Presumably we've got some Ray Davies.
Well, I was going to play this track because we got Damon Albarn coming up, and we were going to play off this album. This Is Where I Belong. The song.
Oh, the one they stole off the TV show.
The Waterloo Sunset.
But this is were you involved in this album?
No, I did a TV show, and it's a tribute album.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Yeah. I think they thought I was dead. That's why they did a tribute.
Look at that! What a great photograph. You had a great haircut.
That's a great. You know, they put a teacup in, and actually it was a glass of gin.
No, really.
Yeah, they've substituted.
They've done that. So they've photoshopped the teacup.
Look at the flares on the other side.
Yeah, you wore loons well.
Oh,
they were great. Do you still have any of your old stage wear?
I have. Yeah. I've got a sort of wardrobe full of them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You could fetch some dough with it on eBay. Yeah, if you're hard up.
No, I'm not. Well, see, if I can stay at your place Friday.
Stay at my place. We'll split the money.
Yeah.
I'll take the photos. I'll do the technical side of it. You just provide the memorabilia.
Don't have to share a room with your brother, though.
No, you don't do that.
That's good.
No. I don't let him in the house. Okay, this is what track are we going? This is the Damon Albarn.
Ray and Damon.
Okay, I think you might recognise this song when it starts.
This is an unexpected pleasure.
Dirty old river, must you keep rolling, flowing into the night? People so busy, makes me feel dizzy, tasty light shines so bright. But I don't need no friends, as long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. Every day I look at the world from my window. The chilly, chilly is evening time. Waterloo sunset's fine. Waterloo sunset's fine. Terry meets Julie, Waterloo Station, every Friday night. But I am so lazy, don't want to wander, I stay at home at night. But I don't feel afraid, as long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. Waterloo sunset's fine. Waterloo sunset's fine.
How nice is that? Beautiful. How nice is that? Damon and the boys are on the show after you. They're coming in a minute.
Excellent. We wish them all the best. I can't stay around because I'm going to rehearsal.
Their new album is terrific as well.
Oh, yeah.
Have you got a copy? Do you want me to give you one?
Yeah, I'd love one.
Yeah, we've got a copy here. We'll give you a copy, and that's saving a few quid.
Yeah.
How many songs do you think you've written, Ray, over the years?
Well, they counted, I think, around in 1970, I'd written about 500 then, so God knows. But it only takes one good one.
Yeah. I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm just remembering some of my favourite, I guess, rock songs of the last 20 years are yours. I mean, Stop Your Sobbing. What a great... It is time for you to stop all of your sobbing.
Brilliant.
What a great song. And I think that's not a bad version.
That is a very good version.
Big Sky, fantastic.
I'll be playing that.
Wow.
That's from an album, Village Green Preservation Society, that
Yeah.
sold 20,000 copies worldwide. But now, every time I go to a gig in America, I invite someone who's in a band, local, and they all pick a song from that album.
Isn't that strange?
It's weird.
And why did it not sell?
It was
more,
an
do you think?
album. It was lo-fi. It was under-recorded, and it was the sort of thing you give to your friends, but you don't hear on the radio.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird.
Let's dig it out
marketing.
next week. We'll play a track off it.
I've got it at home.
I've got it somewhere. Till the end of the day. What a great track that is! Wow.
That was a hit.
Who'll be the next in line? You've written too many songs.
Yeah, that's it. I'll stop now then.
Do you have a favourite?
I've written a really interesting thing on this record I quite like. Is There Life After Breakfast?
This is the new solo album. And what's that going to be called? The album.
The album, I've no idea.
Is There Life After Breakfast is a good catchy.
Yeah.
Would this be one of your ruminations on North London life?
It's about keeping the plumbing in order.
I love the sound of this already. Have you recorded this already?
I've done what they call a demo of it.
Would you come down and add plumbing noises in the background?
No, I think they'll get the
No.
idea without the obvious.
No need to be modest. I've done a bit.
I'm sure.
I haven't done any actual plumbing, but I do know how to turn off the radiators. I think you're a sane man, and what strikes me as being a fairly happy man because of the fact that you didn't get the kind of ridiculous level of success that could so easily have come your way. You know, you look at people often who have that, and you think actually they completely lost touch of what they liked about life, and part of the pleasure of life is living in an area where you know and where you grew up, and still being in touch with all that. I think. You know, do you think there's anything in that, or am I just talking nonsense?
No. I mean, I can walk out on the street and not get sort of... I was in New York recently with David Bowie, and we sort of just went out for a meal together. And we were in the centre of New York, and we left the restaurant, and David said, "Oh, I've got to put my disguise on." And we walked down the street. He had a big zipper, and he put around his head. It was like one of those outbreak outfits.
Yeah.
And we're walking down the
Like
street.
an anti-SARS suit.
And then he got angry because people recognised me and they didn't recognise him because he had his thing.
That's right, when I went out with David. No one did know him. That might have been my
he's a
joke.
lovely
You want the
chap.
plump grey one. Because you do a charity type thing.
Well, I just did one in New York with him in March. It seems like ages ago now. Yeah, we do this thing for the Tibetan monks. And it's a good, funny... We did Waterloo Sunset together, strange. People always pick that song.
And how does that work? How does that sound, the two of you doing it?
Well, we only had one rehearsal, you know, it was just a quick event, and the vocal blending's important, and we figured the only way for us to get the blending right is to copy each other.
So you were doing him.
I was trying to sing it like him, he was trying to sing it like me.
Can I have a tiny bit of your David Bowie?
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
That sounds nothing like him. That sounds like Santa Claus.
You obviously haven't seen him lately.
No, I haven't, no.
Okay.
Ray, it's so nice. I so appreciate you coming in.
No problem.
The gig, I don't know if it's sold out. I'm sure it won't be long if it isn't.
It's a strange gig for me to do. I did it with the Kinks years ago, the Festival Hall.
It's meant to be a nice place to perform, isn't it?
I think they've done some acoustic work, which is good.
Right.
On it.
And will you be touring with this setup?
I don't think we're doing 3 warm-up dates. We're doing, I think, Stockport on Monday, Wrexham on Wednesday, and some other place, Sheffield on Tuesday.
Oldham, Peckham, Turnham Green?
Not this time.
No, okay. That's a great joke, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that.
It's one of the old ones. It's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
I know you've got to get off to your rehearsal there.
Yeah, we'll have to rehearse now.
And you're a big Arsenal fan, so I know that you're in mourning at the moment.
No, I just think... one thing annoys me. Arsenal were away, I think up north about a month ago, and Robert Pires was meant to be injured, and I saw him in Hampstead. And he should have been in the pub, either in the pub watching it or with the team at the ground.
And what was he doing in Hampstead? Just swanning around?
Swanning around, yeah.
La-di-da, Gunnar Pires.
But I think that there's the other team just had a great run. And
the other team, he can't even bring himself to name them. I love men who love football because I'm not a big football fan, but you take it so seriously, don't you?
We don't.
It really matters to people.
I'm not hurt.
All right, Ray, good luck with the gig, not that you need it. And I'd love to. I'm going to come and see you live, but I must drag you onto one of my shows. I'm going to force you to come on and perform live sometime.
Yes, but don't sing, will you?
Come on, I've not got a bad voice.
We'll imitate each other.
We could do something together.
We'll do something. Okay.
How about Waterloo Sunset? That'd be nice for you.
Yeah, we'll do Big Sky.
Thanks for coming on, Ray.
No problem.
Take care.